All right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks everyone for joining. Yeah, I'm Vipul Kumar. I'm the director at the Poulsbo Cyber Range. We have Angela Henderson with me. She's the academic liaison for the Cyber Range, and she works with instructors to onboard them to range and do all sorts of academic support. Um, Hope you guys can see my screen okay. Um, I'm on a widescreen monitor, so let me know if you can see okay.
Looks good here.
Awesome.
Yeah, looks
Sometimes
good.
the screens, sweet. So yeah, I guess I'll start from our new website. We've been working on a new version of our platform, and along with it, we thought it's a good idea to refresh our website. So you can access it here. It's www.cyberrangepulsbo.org. And if I quickly go to the contact us page, you can contact us via our support channel. This is a Jira portal, so anything, if you want to reach out to us for any reason, academic support, technical support, collaborating on a capstone project, or doing an event with us, anything, you can hit us through the contact portal by clicking here. It takes you to this page here, and then you can put in, support requests. So just wanted to mention that. And then uh, just quickly about the team. So, um, Angela and I are here, but we have a cloud administrator who's in charge of all of our data centers. So we have a data center in Paulsbo, a data center in Ellensburg in Central Washington University, and we're building a new one in Bellingham, and in talks to build one in Spokane as well. So our plan is to distribute the cyber range in the state so that there is no single point of failure when it comes to access. This is a big improvement as part of our V3 upgrade to distribute the data centers so that there's high availability and also a local access. So if someone from Eastern Washington University logs into the cyber range, we prefer to launch their resources near them, so it'll go to Ellensburg, for instance, or Spokane in the future, things like that. So Paul takes care of all of that. He's our cloud administrator. We have a software developer in-house, so the platform that I'm about to show you is all built internally. It's not a proprietary paid software. So one of our goals is to not use any proprietary software or hardware, use commodity hardware and custom software so we can iterate quickly and keep costs low. So that's what we've been doing, and all the work we do is like in-house, and we develop everything ourselves too. So she does all of our development. Sneha Shinde and Sally Bass is our research associate. So anytime we have to add a learning object or a lab, much like the Operation Cyber Range, Sally takes care of the addition of the lab, curating it, QAing it, and finally uploading it to the platform. So that's our team. And Eric Fredheim is our director for cybersecurity program for Western, and also the director, kind of the meta director for the cyber range. And the range was his vision, and he kind of slowly started hiring the team. And this is where we are today. So yeah, hope it'll take a minute to check out the site. There's some useful information here, and we try to keep the site up to date as well. So the main thing that I want to share is this login button here. This will take you to our new platform, the version 3 platform. So if I click here, this is the landing page, and this is one of the main improvements to the platform is that it's now available without a VPN. So anybody on any device can access it and launch machines, and it works on basically Chromebooks, iPads, even on iPhone if you can manage the screen size. So it's super accessible, and our goal is also to make it easy to use. So I'm going to use a demo domain today for for this presentation, but every organization will get their own domain. So um, the resources that you launch belongs to your organization, along with the networks and everything. So there's isolation at the network layer by organization. So let me log in. So I'm going to use a QA account. And there is an option to add two-factor authentication as well if your school policy requires two-factor authentication to access resources. But for now, for this demo, I've turned it off, so I only need a password. If I enable two-factor, you'll require an authentication code that goes to your email to verify. All right, so when I log in, this is how the landing page looks like. Let me move this. Uh, at the top here, it shows your organization. Mine is a demo organization, your username and your role, right? I'm logged in as an administrator. And there is a trust verification tag here, and it says ID trusted. What that means is, let's say you're logging in from Whatcom. Then as long as you use a whatcom.edu address, we can pretty much trust that that address is vetted and you're either an instructor, student, or affiliated to Whatcom somehow. Hence, you got the whatcom.edu address. So we use that as a trust mechanism to verify you. However, when you do events and stuff within Whatcom, there might be situations where you want to invite others who are outside of Whatcom. If that's the case, we can actually enable external email addresses. In that case, the trust tag changes to exempted. So something to note here. But for the majority of cases, the default is allow users to log in from your edu address. Since our main focus is universities, colleges, and K through 12, um, that's kind of our default with the option to change that based on specific organizational requirements. So that's the kind of the high level access control mechanism. Administrator is the highest level, uh, followed by instructor, organizer, student, guest. So those are the levels, and I'll talk about what all that different levels mean. So at the top here, there is like a question mark. This takes you to again the Jira portal. So if I click on that, it goes to the portal here, and then this is the logout button. Um, the kind of the platform is laid out on the side menu here. So you can see the main platform, an area called sandboxes, and an area called events that is disabled currently for this organization. And I'll explain what that means in a second. So under the platform, this is the main dashboard. And if I look at a quick overview, I can see my recent activity within this organization, like when I logged in and all that kind of stuff. If there is announcements that's made by the cyber range, let's say a maintenance window or some stuff happening with our backend, or if we push out new content or new feature, all that announcements and stuff goes here, so it's immediately visible to you. And then these are the collections. And Operations Cyber Range is basically nested under this collection here called Cyber Security Center of Excellence. So this is kind of a group name for all the labs we developed under the grant that we got awarded, right? So, and we have other collections as well. These are open source collections, some of them, like Cyber Hero, Labtainer, Seed Labs. This we kind of curate from the open internet and publish it ourselves. And then there are like certain, student developed resources. Those fall under currently only Western students are developing things, but we in the future we are collaborating with Central and Eastern, and hopefully other community colleges as well to develop labs and objects for the cyber range. So we group them as collections, and I can click on one and it takes me to the library. But if I want to see all of the objects, I can click under Learn Objects. So this would be all the learning objects that's available in the cyber range across the collections that I showed on various topics by duration, skill level, academic level, general classification. Is it a defensive material, attack material, or general? And what type of topic that they belong to. So I believe here we have about like 120 plus collections that's published right now. And in our inventory is like many hundreds more to come. Which is just a matter of like QAing and testing and attaching the environment before we publish. So it's a strong pipeline. So let me go back to the dashboard, and if I click on purely the CCoE collection, it will filter the objects. So it'll take me straight to the objects page, but this time it's filtered by CCoE. So these were the labs that were developed under Operations Cyber Range. And we are super excited to make this available today. And we've published 30 of the 46 labs live, and it's accessible and ready to use. And the remaining 16 odd ones we are in the process of QA. So when you get access to the platform, you have on day one have access to 30 labs developed by the Operations Cyber Range. And this is super. We're really excited, and we push really hard to publish these. So let's take a look inside one of them, right? So this is SQL injection basics one. If I click on view, this is the general like anatomy of an object. Is like you would get the high level description. We try to associate the learning object to this nice framework outcome. So in this case, this is the kind of the ID and the objective. And then we attach the lab guide on this page itself. So this is a full lab guide. This is coming from Google Classrooms. So all of these objects are actually inside of Google Classroom as individual classrooms. And since it's Google Classroom, we can use all of Google's tooling, like Google Docs and Google Slides and Sheets and all that, and simply embed them into the platform. So this saves us so much time. One, we don't have to build our own learning management system. We can use Google Classroom. Two, we can use Google products, which is easy to use, and basically use Google Classroom as a repository for all the labs, and simply pull in the material we want to show the students and instructors under the platform. So this is the work that sallied us, and the reason why we did this is we want to reduce the time between an instructor submitting materials and it going live on the platform, and any efficiency we can gain is much needed. So that's why it's all in Google Classroom. So this is the lab guide, and if there is materials associated with the lab, like homework or answer keys or assignments, they will be under the materials tab here. And in this case, there is a instructor only material, which will only be visible to people who log in under administrator or instructor. If you're a student, you won't see instructor only materials and assignments. So there's a homework assignment. So if I click on view, it'll take me to the Google Docs, and I can download a copy of my own and then resubmit it back. We haven't integrated the kind of the submission process back because each instructor runs their class really differently, and we couldn't find a unified flow to grade or do assignment submissions. So we kept it pretty open-ended that you'd see all the materials here, and it's up to the instructor's workflow to figure out okay, how do I want this homework to get submitted back? This could be your Canvas or an email to the instructor. It like really widely varies. So it's open-ended on our end. It's up to the instructor how to integrate that. But what we try to focus on is the lab guide and attaching the relevant environment to go with it. So if you click on the environment tab, in order to do this lab, you actually need two machines. You need a damn vulnerable machine, which is the target for SQL injection, and you need a Kali and Nexus machine, which would be the host machine from which the student will initiate the attack. So those two machines are attached here. So from here, each student and instructor can deploy their own copy of it. So you can click on deploy of the target, and that is a job that gets submitted, and one of our data centers will pull the job and try to build a VM, and that it gets redirected to this page. So it'll take a second to build. So let me go back and filter by CCoE again, and then find the SQL basics one. And then I can also deploy the second machine, right? So the Kali one. So that is the basic anatomy of a single learning object. And each of the other objects are pretty much the same, except the lab guide, the materials, and the objects associated with it changes. So if I take a different one, let's say digital forensics, view. But then, as you can see, this one has this is the 4 hour lab meant for undergraduate and graduate, intermediate difficulty, defensive, and framework mapping. This has actually many more frameworks. So this is mapped to CompTIA Security Plus objectives, NICE Framework 1.0, and CAE Cyber Defense Knowledge Units 2020. So it's mapped to three different framework. So the framework mapping, like we try our best to find the right mapping, and we are iterating on this. So over time, we will map all the objects. But it's a resource intense thing to figure out the right mapping. But once it's done, it's done. The other one thing I wanted to mention is the attribution here. So we mentioned who developed this. So this lab was developed by Cyber Range Poulsbo. It's a board of CCoE, and the lab was done by Jesse Moore. And I believe Jesse is here. So Jesse, this is your lab. Uh, so yeah, and this is the guide and that Jesse wrote, and this is the materials that was handed to us, and this would be the Velociraptor Windows 11 environment. So if you want to run that, you can deploy that, right? So that is the objects. There are like I said, there are other collections here, and like seed labs and labtainers and Western one. So to talk about these labs quickly, these are actually student capstone projects. Western students from CS and cyber programs come in and do capstone projects in the cyber range, and they develop these labs, right? So our goal with this library is to make it um, the broadest library across many topics that's available, yeah, that can basically stand with any proprietary library, let's say Hack the Box or something. Since they're proprietary, we believe they can move fast, but uh, open source will catch up. So if with Operation Cyber Range contributing 46 labs, and if you look at open source labs that's funded by the federal government and different state governments, they're all available to use. Someone just need to go in and actually do the work of curating them and building the environment and associating them. So we do that when we have time. We do that internally. So you can do funded efforts like Operation Cyber Range. We can pull in from open source, We can do capstone projects within Washington State, collaborating with community colleges and universities to build labs that we all share. And thirdly, and finally, like the fourth thing is like there are instructors who have labs sitting in their local, like VMware or VirtualBox, that they like to donate. So if we take all those four and then we iterate, we will have the biggest library that competes with any proprietary provider. It's just a matter of time and then just building together and sharing the labs. So on day one we are like at 130, 120, 130 objects, but the inventory is like easily 250 plus right now, and I think there's a path to like doubling that in like couple of 2 3 years. uh, we'll have like 500 plus labs, and then something interesting will happen, which is we can then start to build, like use these as Lego pieces and build interesting pathways by combining them. Right. So, I mean, even with like 100 objects, we can start to combine them to specialized areas. Like if you want to do like a network, SOC analyst, or if you want to be like a pen tester, then we can pick these and then create a pathway, and that is pretty powerful as well. So when we hit around the 200 objects mark, we are going to add an extra tab here called pathways, and then we're going to start to compose and use them as Legos to build more complex pathways as well. So that is kind of our vision for it. And Now let's look at how the environment piece works, right? So when we deployed, if you noticed, it got redirected to this page here under deploy called Cloud Console. So that's where the VMs go. So you can see here, the Kali Nexus VM is up, and the CCoE desktop is up. So let's talk about like how to access these, right? So the high level information is here, the IP, who launched it, what is the environment, etc. And this also shows the data center where this is running. So currently it's in Poulsbo. And in order to access this, you can click on this menu here and then click on server info, and it pops up relevant information about the machine. So the main thing here is the guacamole username and the guacamole password. Since this is VPN less, we actually proxy the VMs behind the Guacamole proxy. So you need credentials to access that proxy. So these are the two username and password for that. And then at the system level, if you want to become root, or just to want to know what the user's credentials are, this is the system user name, and this is the system user password, and you can like view it by clicking on this, and copy it by clicking on this, right? So uh, with that, if I wanted to launch and access the VM, I can click Cloud Terminal. This will open a new window, and this is the Guacamole interface, and I can simply like copy uh, give it a second to refresh. While I'm doing that, is there any questions I can address? All right, so it's back. So you can click on the cloud terminal here and then open the terminal and copy the username and password, right? So copy uh, username and password for Guacamole. And Guacamole caches the credentials. So you only need to do this once in a, every 3 hours or so. So if you logged in once to a machine, your credentials are the same for Guacamole for other machines. So if you logged into one to log into the next one, you don't have to do that again. You can just simply hit simply hit cloud terminal and it'll land you straight to the VM. So this is the CCoE desktop environment for CCoE labs, and this is the Kali environment for the other lab, right? So yeah, it's internet connected and it's networked so that your organization stays in a flat network. So each machine can access the other machine, and yeah, you can like do stuff here, and there's internet. You can copy paste from the from this machine back to your host, and from the host back to the VM, and it'll work on Chromebooks and Macs and like all types of machines, um, and yeah, so it's pretty. And if you sometimes this will happen, which is the machine will um, uh, you know, log out automatically. That is an operating system thing. So if that happens, you can simply use the system username and password, right? So you can use this. And for that machine, this is the username and password, student user. You can simply do that, student user, and it'll log you back into the machine, right? This is the CCoE Dexo machine, and it's internet connected, and all the lab uh, so anything you need for that lab is already installed. At this point, all you need to do is basically have this machine open and go back to the learning object, find the learning object that you wanted to do, and I believe it was SQL, and just like follow the guide with the machine. So that is our so one of the main things that we wanted to solve was this combining the lab guide with the environment in a frictionless way so that you don't have to worry about spinning up VMs or setting up VirtualBox or any of that. Uh, it's easy to use and accessible from anywhere. So that was the main thing we wanted to solve without a VPN. So that's the objects and the environments piece. Then if we move on to other areas like train and build. So under train, you'll see these machines. The idea behind this is machines and targets are associated with the objects. So these are the environments that we pretty much launch from the objects page, right? But they're also available standalone. So you don't have to use a learning object in order to use an environment. So, for example, if all you need is a Windows 10 machine for a class, you can just come here and then look at our Windows 10 environment. And we have a short description about what is installed on there and also what kind of learning objects are associated if we wanted to use them. But there's a basic instruction and you can just simply launch that, right? So you don't have to go and, bundle it and use them independently. So that is the idea behind independent environments. So each of these, including the CCoE desktop or the Velociraptor environment or the API security, these might be associated with objects, but doesn't mean you have to use the objects, right? So it's freely available. Same with targets. Metasploitable 2 and 3 are popular targets. Some of our learning objects do use them, but you can simply launch one if you want to use it in class and uh, do kind of free play without the objects and maybe use your own material that sits in some like Canvas or your learning management system, and you can completely bypass what we have, right? So our goal is to reduce the friction as much as we can and give you the ability to build your class. So those are machines and targets. The build area is different to train in that we kind of see these as Lego blocks to build more complex things. So, for example, like Kali can be pretty versatile. This is a vanilla Kali. And you can build various labs or just use it as a base for just simple learning. And so those kind of stuff, like for a Docker desktop. So if you all you need is a environment with Docker installed, this is the base to good base to start building with Docker. Or if you just want a simple open sense and environment, that's there. So these are like baseline environments from which you can build more complex environments and vanilla images of various things. So it's a catch-all for all of that. And we generally what we see is people use these to build learning objects and labs, or just as a free flowing tool. There's also code spaces. So this is based on feedback from various instructors and mainly like K through 12. Like this is basically environments with IDEs and build tools installed for different programming languages. So we have one for Python, C, C++, Java, and HTML. We are working on a Go, Rust, and data science, kind of a data science a beginner, intermediate, advanced, kind of three levels. And this will come with, so if I pull in C, it'll come with a GCC, a sample code base, like the basic Hello World C and basic C operations guide, and Visual Studio Code, everything installed and set up. So you're pretty much you don't have to do anything. You can just go to the environment and deploy the environment and go to the console. I believe I've launched code space here before. There's a Java one that I launched and a Python one. So let me go and launch that. Uh, so this is how it looks like. Um, yeah, if if this this sort of thing happens, it means that the VM has logged out, and it takes a little bit of time to wake up the VM. So if you see a black screen, just simply refresh or hit enter, and it'll wake up the VM. It just means that the VM went to sleep. Um, for a lot, so I need to fetch the system user, um, Python student user. Yeah, yeah, there you go. This is the Python one. I have multiple open here, but this the you can see Visual Studio Code, uh, and uh, and when you click on it, we have set it up so that it opens up the repo that the lab guide points to. So this is basic Python operations, functions, hello world, loops, types, and Python 3.0. Python 3 is installed. So Python. Uh, so it's ready to go. You can run your stuff, and this is the same for Java and C and all the other languages as well. So that's code spaces, workspaces. And quickly, so these are all resources that's available without a VPN. You can simply access them through the internet. But there are other resources that are much more like sophisticated in their networking, or like generally complexity. So those we nest under access area wire managed services, and we group them under four categories. So the Cyber Range can do managed applications and services like like a GitLab server. We can do managed labs. So if you have a lab that is more complex, this is the example would be a honeypot stack. This is a series of honeypots that's publicly exposed, collecting data. So that is hard to give access through the internet. So you do need a VPN connection for that, or a binary bomb. But this is a more complex lab that requires a little bit more networking. So things like so if it's a networking heavy lab, something that uses, let's say, security onion. I saw one of the labs that was built was security onion, and that most likely will be a over the VPN kind of experience. Um, so yeah, so manage labs and then manage hypervisor. So we can also provide just the bare metal hypervisor to do your work. So one example of this would be when we host a PRCCDC. We actually give the black team who does the event direct access to OpenStack. So that access requires a VPN, and it could be now. Previously, this used to be um, through emails and things like that, but now it's integrated into the platform, and you can simply request access. So we can click on the request access button, and like I showed in the beginning, you can go to the Jira portal, or even better is you can just simply email us at support@cyberrange.org. It just creates the ticket on Jira. It's the same, but it's one more way for you to interact with us. So if you want to just simply email and say, hey, can we get access to OpenStack? Then we can set up a VPN. Then the question is like, how do we distribute the VPN files securely? And all the resources associated with it, right? So let's say someone accessed requested for honeypot, then we need a way to share that. So the way we do that is under this area here, sandboxes. So if you click on sandboxes, and this is the dashboard, and then there's a sandboxes tab here, you'll see that this is just an example. You'll see that this area here. So the instructor who requested it will see this, and then if you click on view, there will be pages which would be the much like the lab guide. This would be the how to guide to the honeypot stack, right? This is not accurate. I'm just showing a simple, since it's a demo. This is how it will look like, and then the files. So under files, you can download the VPN config. Under links, you'll know where to go once you connect to the VPN, and then under access control, you'll see who else has access to these resources. So if you have a class and an instructor and a bunch of students need these files, you simply share the roster with us and we'll set up the sandbox for you. So this is really useful for classroom, sharing VPN to a class, or as part of an event like PRCCDC, if you want to distribute individual configs to different teams, we can do that through sandboxes. So that's sandboxes. And lastly, there is classes under the learn section. And all the classes is basically, so if objects are the superset, class is a subset. So you can just simply go, if you're an instructor, create a class. We modeled it similar to Canvas. So this is really just like creating a Canvas shell. So you can create a shell by giving a title, a code, instructor, start date and end date. And then this is important. How many VMs do you need for the class, and how many days do you want to keep the VMs, and expected number of students. This is for our internal bookkeeping. So once you do that and save, you'll see this card here, like our demo class. You can click on view, and this is the menu is exactly like Canvas. Announcements, if you want to make class level announcements. Pages, if you want to add a content like a guide or something like that. And you can add it here. This is it's a full editor, so you can do like formatting and stuff. Links, if you want to point them to different resources. Files, if you want to like keep them stuff to download. And people would be your students, so you can find your students here and add them to the class. So only the students you add to the class will see this card when they go to classes. Otherwise, they won't see anything here. And one thing that we're going to add is the ability to add environments and objects. So you'll see an objects tab and an environments tab shortly here. And that is basically, you can pick from any of these. Let's say you want to use the CCoE Introduction to Database Management as a class, then you can pull in that object under the class and the associated environment. So this is a subset in that if you want to design a system where you can ask your students to log into the platform and they can pretty much ignore all of the stuff and simply focus on your class, you can do that. So this was like highly requested by instructors in order to isolate um, their class from all the rest of it. So that's classes, and if I can take one more minute, I'll just quickly explain what events is. You can see events is disabled right now. So let me quickly enable events. Or Angela, do you want to enable events? So I don't want to share the. Can you enable events for the demo organization?
Yeah, give me 1 second, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So while Angela is doing that quickly, I missed a few menu systems here. So there's an upload menu where you can share files with us, like your class roster, things like that. There is a announcement area where you can see consolidated announcements. Okay, and there is an audit section where you can see full audit of the system, all activities that's happening within your organization, like failed login attempts or things like that. And then there is a settings page from which you can actually switch between dark mode and light mode. I like the dark mode better. And you can change the theme, like if you can change different colors and things like that, and it'll change the color. And there's different organization level settings, like I mentioned, allow external email addresses, allow students to invite other students, it's turned off by default, allow guest logins, default VM retention is 50, the limit is 50 VMs per organization, which we can always increase. Default retention is 30 days. Two-factor is disabled, but you can enable it here. And then you can see the list of all the users. This is an administrator view, but others will have limited access. But this is the setup, and your registered email address, and if you need support, you can email support. That's kind of the menu system. And if Angela enabled events, I can log out and then log back in.
You should be all set.
All right. Yeah, so you can see events is on. So I can click on events, and it's not fully developed yet. By early next year, this will be up. But our idea is like, Cyber Range, we want to give frictionless access to machines and VMs. That I think we can do that through this, the platform area. But we want to, collaborate on learning objects and build the biggest library. We can do that. The missing piece is like we want to also be the place where, community colleges and universities and schools can organize events. Uh, so if you want to do hackathons, workshops, professional development, cyber camps, anything related to cybersecurity, computer science, we should be able to leverage this platform to do that. So the events area is dedicated for that. There is a dedicated organizer role. So if you're an organizer for a local event, you can request access. And much like we did with classes, right, where we took parts of the learning objects and environments and composed an area, we can do pretty much that for events, right? So that's the idea. So just name your event, and then you can organize these environments. And then the difference is when you invite guests into an events area, they only have access to that portion, right? And it'll live and die by the event. When the event is done, that area is taken out and their access either goes away or we need to shift their access to other parts like the platform or the sandbox or something based on the based on the situation, right? So events is the idea behind events is that. So we are building this out. And we have turned this off because it's not fully done, but we'll turn this on early January. So this is V3 and Operation Cyber Range, and we're so happy to share these 30 labs available today, and the platform is available. You just have to simply request access, and we're in the process of onboarding all the colleges and universities, and give us a week or so, and we can give you access. And yeah, and our goal with this is bi-weekly improvements, and like feature improvements and bug fixes and things like that, and quarterly major improvements. So every quarter during maintenance, a quarter break, we will push out big improvements like the events phase and things like that. So our goal is to on a rolling basis improve this platform and get your feedback, and then iterate and build this better, such that we can actually say that match any proprietary provider, and the students don't have to put in a credit card or pay for the services. That's kind of our goal. Yeah, uh, turn it back to you, Mike.
Hey, Vipul, we had one
Yeah.
question in the chat from Rich Becker, and it was when you were showing the various environments, and he said, would you consider adding Jupyter Server Lab Notebook? And I believe this was in the
Yes,
space.
yes, Jupyter. Yeah, Jupyter. So the data science, we can add Jupyter notebooks here under the code spaces, as a general, data science ML tool, or as a workspace. Like there's plenty of areas where we can plug that. Yeah, it's easy. We can add that. And one other thing that we are also kind of like what's coming in the future is like uh, this idea of like cyber physical systems, which is like if we can, now that we all have this common platform to which we can hook up stuff, and we when we all have access, we are planning to add an extension to the access area called cyber physical systems. This is basically we're talking with Idaho National Labs. They have a skid that they want to share with us, so we can create like a site-to-site VPN and then give all the colleges access to the skid through the platform, or hook up Raspberry Pis, so you can actually target Pis like physical Raspberry Pis through the platform, or like add Cisco, Palo Alto, like basically like partner with the industry and then host these appliances, and then give you access to the appliances through the platform. So that is a big kind of area where we're going to plug into. This is like cyber physical system. And yeah, we're excited about that, and we'll keep improving this and based on feedback, and yeah, slowly add more things. But we wanted to get this baseline system out so we can gather feedback from the community and improve.
Thanks, Vipul. This is a huge transformation from what you shared with us, I think, like a year and a half ago. So
It's been
you've gotten a lot of great comments about what people observed, what you've
awesome.
shown today. So definitely moving in the right direction, and really appreciate what you're providing for Washington State. And I didn't see Nicole on there here earlier, but I wanted to shout out to Nicole and Angela for helping us build the cyber, our part of the cyber labs and helping support Cyber Range Poulsbo. And I think you mentioned it. It's really important to build the community and have everybody contribute to Cyber Range Poulsbo. So and use it, of course. So we're really looking forward to how this continues to develop, and how folks are using it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming out today and attending. Nicole, did you want to say anything, or Angela, do you have any comments you want to throw out there? I know we have some.
I just wanted to, yeah, I wanted to welcome Li Jing, who runs the Washington Science Olympiad. He's interested in getting more high school students onto the platform, Angela. I would really love for Lee to connect with you, because WSO is this year now adding cybersecurity and LLM challenges in the high school and middle school space.
Yeah, a high school K through 12 is like one of the big reasons why we decided to build from scratch. Pretty much, this is a from V2 to V3 is pretty much a rewrite from scratch, because we wanted to get rid of the VPN. And because we did pilots with K through 12 with like 10, 12 schools, and we kind of managed to talk with their IT and get the VPN in, and it was not a friction-free setup. And our main like kind of a North Star thing is removing friction. So now that the VPN is out, and also we got a grant from the state to buy new hardware, and that is the hardware that is now distributed in these data centers. And also, one of the main reasons why we did distribute data center is also to target schools. So I think within community colleges and universities, we have good penetration now and good usage, and that now our focus is really getting to K through 12 over the next couple of years. So we're going to spend a lot of time in that, and because K through 12 is like volume heavy, that is the last area where we could go, because we have to build up the capacity and the labs and the staff and all that. Now we have all that, so that's our kind of our main goal for coming years is that. And in order to request access, you can use, so if you go to the login page, there is a contact support, and then this is our support email, support@cyberrangepoulsbo.org. And if you want to do collaborated capstones, collaborate with us on capstones, build labs, build environments, do competitions, anything, simply email us here and we will reach out. And I also wanted to thank Angela. Like I did the presentation, but Angela spent a good part of the last year uh, diving into this, and like she pretty much did all this on her own with support from CCoE. So just wanted to thank Angela and the team, and thanks to CCoE for the grant, and thanks for everyone contributing the lab. And hopefully we can do more labs and really make this a solid library so we can sustain this.
Great, thanks, Vipul, and I think we were right on time here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to come off mic and go ahead and ask those questions. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up here in the next couple of minutes. Have a great weekend. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Li Jiang here. I'm the state director for Washington Science Olympia, as Nicole mentioned earlier. I think this was a great presentation. I hope we can work together with Vipul and other experts on the line to kind of proliferate some of the cybersecurity effort into the high school. So this year we're hosting a state tournament at Ellensburg, Central Washington University. So one of the goals for our board members to basically conduct a very successful tournament. And so eventually, perhaps we'll reach out to some of you to get help on perhaps developing the competition materials. And it will be kind of like a 15-minute test, including a hands-on lab, which I think typically people use HackerRank for delivering some of the problem, but we can certainly use this environment that you're demonstrating for doing some of that. It's perfect.
Yeah, that would be great. We'll follow up on that.
Is there contact information I can reach you at, Vipul?
Yeah,
Sending
sure.
a group email to all of you now, so you could just reply to this group email. Look in your inboxes in a second.
Perfect, thank you. And we're also looking for volunteer for other event. I can maybe talk about that later. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we'd love to have you. We're gonna have another town hall in December, so we can invite you to do an introduce that if you'd like to do that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I probably just need 5-10 minutes just to.
Okay, that'd be great. That's kind of what we want to do with the town hall. So share information that folks could use,
Thank you.
build our community. It's all right. Give it 1 second.
One question, do you have Security Onion built into this as labs?
Angela, what's our situation with Security Onion?
So Anon Injeti, who's on the call, actually developed a lab for Security Onion. And I'm talking off the top of my head. I want to call it capturing PCAPs with, or examining PCAPs with Security Onion. So that is being integrated. We are still working on bringing that environment into the range. It is a managed service, and will require the VPN, we believe. So we're still working with that. So stay tuned. But yes, we are developing. We have one lab on Security Onion. And I think once we get over the environmental piece, we would certainly invite more.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, everybody. Again, have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you in December at our next town hall. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.